morning, everyone. I'm Payal Goel. I'm director from Deloitte, having over 18 years of experience in oil, gas, and chemical sector. And it is my privilege to moderate this very pertinent topic today, shaping the future for energy transition, how we can look at investment, innovation, and bringing scale. So we are at the point in the country where energy transition is not just a vision. There are a number of activities which are unfolding around us, and now is the time to look at how we can achieve scale with the significant progress which we have made. So we have esteemed panel member here from policy side. We have Mr. Sivakumar from Solar Energy Corporation of India. We have Mr. Ravi from developer side who will share his perspective on ground challenges and key enablers. And then we have Mr. Tanuj from the investment side. What are the criticalities? So we'll have a lot of diversified perspective today to hear from our esteemed panel members. So to start with Mr. Sivakumar, sir, over to you in terms of what do you think are some of the key challenges for renewable energy adoption in the country, especially around the grid stability part, the balancing part of it, as we go deeper into the renewable energy penetration. Over to you, sir, for your perspective.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Very good morning to all of you. In fact, we can see that all the policies that have shaped up the renewable energy integration in the last few days, you can see that in action. In fact, yesterday was one of the days when India touched the highest ever peak power generation, over 270 gigawatts, of which close to 100 gigawatts, 80 gigawatts was being supplied by solar, and 20 gigawatts, around between 15 to 20 gigawatts was from wind. So 100 gigawatts was completely being supplied by the solar plus wind. And yesterday it was in action. And you see that how this solar was, and the thermal was hovering around at 120, between 120 to 140 gigawatts. And by the time the dawn set in, evening, the complete solar was replaced by thermal. I think this is where we find the one biggest opportunity to convert, to add more and more solar, but don't supply solar as it is, convert it into storage, and see that thermal runs steady all through the day, all the 24 hours. That is where the opportunity lies now. And that's what exactly we sitting at SECI are trying to do. We're designing the tenders to suit this kind of requirement: solar plus 4 hours storage, solar plus 6 hours storage, standalone assured storage for 4 hours, assured storage for 6 hours, storage through pumped hydro projects for 8 hours. These are some of the tenders, ongoing tenders, which are still live, and we are sure that we are going to close these things. And in fact, we got one of the best ever tariffs for the solar plus 4 hours, where the tariffs were in the range of 2 rupees 89 paisa. For solar plus 6 hours, the tariff was 3 rupees 13 paisa, one of the lowest possible in the country. These are the tariffs. And further to add to this, Ministry of Power also came out with some kind of VGF arrangement to kickstart the storage journey of the storage in the country. So in the first instance, it was about 13 gigawatt hours, supported by 3,000 odd crore in the form of VGF. In the second tranche, it was about 30 plus gigawatt hours, again backed up by 5,400 crores of VGF. Now for the third tranche, discussions are ongoing. This third tranche is going to be quite specific. In fact, we are bogged down with the problem of curtailment. See, our installed capacity on solar is about 150 gigawatts, more than 150 gigawatts. However, yesterday what we saw was about 80 gigawatts at the peak. What is happening to the rest of 70? 90% of the solar power that's being generated under TGNA, where the GNA is still not operationalized, it is being curtailed. And to the tune of 10%, the wind energy is also getting curtailed. This is where the problem lies. This is how we want to address, to install some quick-acting battery energy storage, probably at the pooling station level, tap this curtailed power through storage and supply it in the evening. This is being backed up by non-solar hour, by making available the non-solar hour connectivity by the central regulator. So the game is getting more exciting going forward. I think we all should wait and watch for this.
Thanks, Mr. Shivakumar. So as the game gets exciting, it also creates certain risks around the sustainability part of it, and everyone is watching the tariffs getting lower and lower. So what is your view around this sustainability and whether aggressive bidding is actually creating longer term risks for us? Over to you for your views.
That's a tricky question. This tariff-based bidding has facilitated the lowering of tariffs, which was never witnessed in the history of the country. We knew the days when Rakesh Kumar sir was there in SECI. We discovered tariffs for grid-connected solar in the order of 7 rupees 50 paisa. Now solar is below 2 rupees 50 paisa. In spite of it is being mandated that you must source your cells also from domestically manufactured companies. However, you are right for the bidding is getting aggressive. More and more players are joining in the fray. But then it's only a matter of time. The non-serious players will get weeded out automatically. But the tariffs are here to stay.
Sure. Sam, thanks so much. So now over to you, Mr. Ravi, to hear your perspective from developer side. So what are some of the challenges on ground you see, whether it is more towards execution or financing or the bidding process in itself? So if you can throw some light and your perspective around what are some of the concerns you see? Thank you.
Thank you for putting this question. So in the present context of geopolitics, energy security is critical priority. So in this position, renewable energy is a perfect fit-in solution for this. And as far as renewable energy execution challenges, there are certain challenges where government land is very much limited. Land, in private land, we have risks like multiple claims are there, inherent disputes are there, proper land reports are not there. On the connectivity side, we are facing mismatch between generation and transmission system, where generation system can typically be completed in 18 to 24 months time. Transmission system takes a little longer time, around 36 months or even more. So in that situation, we are facing the availability of inadequate transmission system, and which results in sometimes curtailment of generations. On financing side, because of the offtake agreement concerns and price volatility and regulatory approvals, financing is being little constrained these days. On the part of policy side, policy and regulatory side, it is very dynamic these days. Every now and then there is separate norm, separate compliance requirement is coming there, which is justified in broader interest, but up to some extent it is affecting the project economics as well. Thank you.
Sure. Now coming to waste to energy plants, of course a lot was discussed about the CBG and others. I personally feel there's a lot of potential in the country. So what are some of the concern challenges where we need to address to scale this up, whether it is feedstock availability, tariff agreement with the DISCOM, land availability? So what are your views around waste to energy?
So based on my past experience, Mahindra is not in the waste to energy business. So based on my past experience, what I learned that waste to energy should not be seen as a power generation unit. Power generation is only incidental activities. So waste energy facility is mainly set up for processing the municipal solid waste and scientifically disposing it off. So where challenges are there, it is yet to be become very popular in RE sector. So far 325 megawatt have been set up in the India. And there are challenges in collection, transportations, and processing of the waste to energy projects. And it must be protected in the interest of society and environment, and it must be incentivized through appropriate tariff and VGF and policy incentives.
Sure. Thanks for your views. Now over to you, Tanuj, in terms of being the facilitator for investment in the country, what are some of the key areas or segments which you feel are attracting global players in India? If you can talk about what are the recent segments which people are looking at from India perspective.
Thank you, Payal, and thanks to the organizers. As we see, this is a really houseful show we have. And before coming to your question, one interesting thing that I think we should have, talk more about is that a simple observation. A gentleman who is ex-MNRE, he spoke about R/P ratio of upstream crude oil reserves. A gentleman who is ex-ONGC speaks about the renewable energy initiatives that, the ONGCs of the world, they take. So this is going to be a story wherein we will continue to live with fossil fuels for a very long time. Our generation, next generation, next generation. I mean, fossil fuels maintain our basic sanity in life. All of us probably who have come here have consumed fossil fuel in one shape or the other. Just to give you one basic example, this blazer is a product of petroleum refinery. So that is the extent fossil fuels are integrated into our lives. So we cannot get rid of them. That's how we talk about energy transition or decarbonization, but not defossilization. So that's how we have to read net zero. Now with that, coming to our scope, Invest India. So our job is to show the India market to foreign investors. So we help, educate a lot of companies. We help bring in FDI into India, which is basically capex and not the trade part of it. So the genesis that we see now in India is that companies and countries, I deal with all the companies from Japan, Australia, Europe, America. That's my day-to-day life. So countries like Japan, Germany, UK, France, these are the developed countries of the world. Their companies have been in the fortune list for a very long time. These companies now want to do their balance sheets. They want to do green balance sheets. They want to have green portfolios. But their domestic countries are small. So they do not have enough land to start investing into a lot of greenfield projects because the size of the projects is huge. And moreover, their domestic market is not big enough because they are looking at a declining population as well. India is currently the biggest population of the world, biggest democracy, but the population will continue to grow. We are not yet plateaued. So the domestic demand is also available here in India. Land mass is also available here. We have a lot of arid area. We still have a lot of area that the government of the day is thinking about manufacturing in India, make in India, and making India export-oriented hub. So with all these boxes ticked very rightly for India, we see foreign companies interested to invest in India across all the sectors. When I deal with companies into energy transition, so first of all, companies are interested to invest in renewable energy projects, that is solar and wind, yes, manufacturing and IPP mode, both. Then comes the energy molecules, which is ethanol, CBG. In fact, even CGD, a segment which we do not talk more often about is natural gas, which is the cleanest of all fossil fuels, and also LNG. So I do see companies taking, trying to place their bets on this segment as well. LNG terminals, we do have a lot of good interest. Some companies are in the public domain, some are not, but we are supporting them. I'm sure some are working with you as well in Deloitte. Methanol, SAF projects. So from the project developer perspective, companies are shifting on the molecule perspective as well. And these companies can invest into the projects as a strategic partner. They can be off-takers as well. The Mitsuis of the world, the CMA, CGMs of the world, they can off-take the molecules, take them to their home countries, green ammonia, biomethanol, green methanol. So all these projects that we see are on the radar of foreign companies, and they are taking turn by turn to study the India market, and the investments will take place, the investments will take shape. You will see a lot of hands getting exchanged in terms of green ammonia bids as well. Later on, you will see a lot of companies showing interest in green methanol. And I believe these companies come with a lot of cash, the real money, plus technology, plus the risk appetite, and that's where India can take advantage of rapidly scaling up these projects in the right direction and take advantage of domestic market as well as the export market both.
Sure. Thanks, Tanuj. Very well said. And I also believe that so many choices now being available in terms of the alternate fuels, a lot of these will coexist together. It is now the matter of choice for consumers. So what is your view around the energy mix? How do you think it will look like in the short term or the medium term?
Yes, energy mix. See, this is not the datum level that we are starting with. We have started on the energy mix some 50, 60 years back. Some of you who are older than me would have seen that transition or would have handled that transition. So when we became independent, the basic fuel we had in hand was coal, which is a fossil fuel, right? Then we started getting into ONGC, IOCL, BPCL. They started handling crude oil, upstream part, midstream part, downstream part. So from solid phase of fossil fuel, which is coal, we got liquid phase of fossil fuel, which is crude oil, and the refinery products. Then we came to the gaseous phase of fossil fuels, which is natural gas. So a lot of, CGD development took place. Supreme Court mandated, okay, now you shift the fleet of buses into Delhi to CNG. And now, what we do not talk about that molecule, which is even cleaner than natural gas, technically, is LNG. The moment you liquefy natural gas, a lot of impurities are flushed out. So that's how we are facing the vulnerabilities in terms of, all the Qatar gas, and the entire fossil story has been hormuzed, if you allow me to use that word. But LNG has to be a very important mix now, being the cleanest of all fossil fuels. So as we said, I think we have close to 1,000 heavy-duty trucks operating on LNG as a fuel, wherein the tank is loaded with LNG in liquid form. Then you have a gasification system. But with that, what we see more in the news is e-mobility. We talk about hydrogen fuel cells. Yes, they are important, they are significant, but there has to be some market for e-fuels, which is short distance, some market for long distance, which is LNG. Hydrogen fuel cell will take some time, but this is going to be a very healthy mix on the road. Same way, healthy mix in the ships. You can have methanol, ammonia, but every such alternate fuel comes with their own difficulties as well, be it their nature, or if there's a leakage of ammonia, what will happen. So we say, okay, LNG is still better to handle. And there will be a mix wherein coal will, silently enjoy watching this picture that the alternate fuels are fighting a place for themselves, but coal is still enjoying a share in the electricity market of 60%. And what we do not see is that electricity market is a subset of energy market. So in the overall energy picture, renewable share is just 5%. A lot of focus goes on crude oil and coal as well. So it will take some time to shift, but yes, we are looking at a very good competition of fossil fuels and non-fossil fuels, and I'm sure all the fossil companies are very happy to deploy whatever initiatives they can take place. So you will find the e-chargers at the filling stations of Reliance, BPC, IOC, ONGC, some hydrogen fuel cell initiatives taken by a lot of fossil fuel companies. So it will be a good mix and good balance, but one fuel, if you say, no, EV will be the winner, not possible. Hydrogen will be the winner, not possible. Every fuel will find its place. Some will be driven by policy and incentives. Some will be driven by a very good lobby. But fossil fuels will continue to have their safe market. And we need to embrace that thing as well.
Sure. Thanks, Tanuj, very rightly said. So we heard about the challenges in various segments currently. So I would move to Mr. Sivakumar to hear your views in terms of what are some of the enablers and interventions as nation we can take to expedite renewable energy adoption, be it various form of financing structure which can be adopted, or any other innovation which can bring in faster or expedite the implementation. Over to you, sir.
Yep. We must always remember that as far as energy is concerned, we must ensure availability, reliability, and affordability. So this is where government will pitches in to make it affordable. The government, whenever this journey of transition has started, the government has come out with support in the form of VGF, CFA. If you remember that there was a VGF offered for the manufacturing sector to increase the capacity of domestically manufactured solar modules, solar cells, and that has placed us in an enviable position. Today we have about 160 gigawatts of module capacity, close to 25-30 gigawatts of solar cells. Now we are further going, the journey is going towards backward integration in terms of wafers and polysilicon and so on and so forth. There is a government support available. Similarly, there was CFA extended to large solar parks that actually kickstarted the journey of solar in the country across the states. There also there was government support, central government support available. And now this got further extended into manufacturing of electrolyzers, in the production of green hydrogen, green ammonia. In fact, we concluded world's largest green hydrogen tenders sometime last year to the tune of 723,000 metric tons to cater to the needs of the fertilizer sector. It is apt rightfully now because we are now dependent, what he said, the Hormuz happened. So this is at the right step in the right direction at the right time probably. This apart, I already said that there's a support being extended for enhancing the storage capacity in the country across all the states, which is rolling out across all the states with strict timelines for availing this benefit. This apart, the role of a renewable energy implementing agency like SECI is that we also come out with a payment security mechanism. This is the one which makes most of the projects bankable because we stand as guarantor between the developer and the discom. And the energy bills, the minute they're raised within a couple of days, those bills are settled from a fund that is available with us. So that's how the projects become bankable. And our recovery from the discoms can range anywhere between 45 days to say 70 days or 75 days. That in spite of that, we try to settle that. So this is on the way. Third is now the market is attracting a lot of investment across the globe, especially sovereign funds, pension funds, maybe from Europe, from Canada, from Singapore. And there's a keen interest. Most of them are directly investing. Some are making a joint venture companies with the Indian developers and trying to put this money in the development of renewable energy. So I think it's all happening. Yes, there are some concerns, some challenges. Any journey will be besorted with those kind of concerns and challenges, which is a altogether different topic for discussion.
Sure. Thanks. This really helps in terms of understanding the enablers. So continuing to what Sir said about the bankability, so what are some of the other business model interventions or other enablers which you feel can enhance the viability from the developer's perspective?
As Sir has already said, we are already moving from plain vanilla RE case to more dependable RE, where RE can be able to meet the peak demand and be ready for any kind of dispatch as per the need of discom profile, load profile. So in that case, current tenders are already equipped with the best integration. My suggestion would be that for legacy PPA, legacy RE PPA, where already we are facing certain curtailment issues in Gujarat and Rajasthan, BESS can be mandated to be installed on each grid substation level, wherever RE is connected, starting from the where RE is connected. It will not only absorb the surplus power, but also reduce the RE intermittency and will reduce the grid constraints.
Sure. Thanks, Ravi. Tanuj, over to you in terms of understanding from the ecosystem perspective. What are some of the key interventions which you would recommend in terms of bringing self-reliance in the entire ecosystem for adoption of and moving towards energy transition?
I think that's a very important word, self-reliance, because yes, now we have understood that any which ways you talk about geographically, India stands vulnerable. You talk about Suez Canal, you talk about Hormuz, you talk about Cape of Good Hope, or even, America's India is vulnerable. So self-reliance is important, which means we need to have the molecules for energy transition, even the fossil molecules available locally. So we need domestic manufacturing of that. So, and when we talk about self-reliance, then, a small decentralized plants would not help. Somewhere in some segments they help, but in larger segments they would not help. So we need refinery scale investments to make the energy transition molecules. And I believe for this, some molecules that could be important are, ammonia, of course. We need methanol. We would need large-scale dimethyl ether projects, which come from methanol. And DME can be a good blend for LPG, albeit with a lower CV, but blending is still technically possible. We need large format SAF projects for blending in the ATF, and why only focus on the international airlines? Let us talk about greening our own airlines as well. So for this, I believe large scale allocation of land should be done by respective state governments wherever they feel, yes, there is humongous biomass available, land can be allocated. Let the state government take personal attention to it, that the project gets mobilized. Let there be off-takers in terms of IOC, BPC, SPC, or even some other entity, chemical plants, pharma plants, which can off-take those molecules, methanol, other things, so that we do not have to depend on heavy imports of methanol, heavy imports of LPG, LNG. We can talk about large format bio-LNG plants. We talk about CBG plants. A simple liquefaction of CBG is basically bio-LNG. Let's talk about bio-LNG plants. And since we have LNG-based trucks, we can set up bio-LNG plants even in remote areas of Punjab. That way we can help. And that truck can travel from Punjab till Gujarat without needing a refill. So large format availability of land has to be done by the state government. Availability of biomass has to be ensured. And along with land, all the other resources, for example, you need power, you need water for making methanol. That should be made available. But the thing is, a lot of these subjects, they remain multi-ministry projects. like SAF or ATF, it goes into civil aviation, it goes into Ministry of Petroleum. I would recommend now is the time we need to have a single ministry for all these new energy or energy transition projects. We need a Ministry of Energy Transition. Otherwise, these projects, become very difficult to mobilize because SAF becomes a project of, the engine suppliers, they talk a different language. And for supplying, you need that aviation infrastructure, the petroleum infrastructure, blending thing. So let's have a common ministry. Let's not delay the things. And other countries, you see, they have mandates of e-fuels. We are still struggling with basic biofuels. So the energy transition journey delays. And the moment we showcase some of these projects as success, I mean, what I learned, financing is not a difficulty. People keep talking about finance, but financing is not an issue. The moment you have land secured, you have done your engineering, you have your off-take secured, you have guarantees like SECI, as Sir said, so your project is bankable. Funding is not an issue. But to cite the project, there are basic issues. So we need that ministry with single window clearances for all the things. They should provide electricity, water, everything. Local resources can be mobilized for those large format projects. That's how we can achieve good degree of self-reliance.
Sure, sure. Thanks. I completely agree that infrastructure readiness, having single window mechanism really helps to fast track a lot of things. Now, my second question is around various models, and one of it is PPP. So how do you think this model will play a critical role in attracting investments in some of these energy transition projects we are talking about?
I think I often give the example of, because we sit in New Delhi, the capital of the country, and here Indraprastha Gas came after the Supreme Court orders. And Indraprastha Gas has equity from government of Delhi as well. That's a good model of, the government investing into probably a JV model of GAIL. But why do we need only GAILs to invest? Why don't we invite such private parties wherein the state governments can be a participant, invest in biofuel projects, advanced biofuel projects, ensure at least the state governments, they know all the supply chain of the feedstock. That is where I feel the private companies are struggling. Even some of the foreign companies who have invested into biofuel projects in India, they are struggling with the biomass feedstock. That is the basic struggle. So where is the project going to site? Where is the project going to be a success? And also, the governments can make sure if their equity is there, they will make sure that, yes, they will mobilize everybody in the supply chain. And they can also be a kind of off-taker. So the government can participate very safely with 5–10% equity and ensure a lot of success for these projects. And I'll tell you how. We are awaiting the details of the CCUS projects. Every state will have some power plant, some refinery, some cement plant, some chemical plant, all the 5 segments which are a part of CCUS mission, which is sitting under the Ministry of Power. Probably, the state governments can think about the carbon emission benchmarking or mapping of their own states and how to reduce. So mobilize the carbon capture projects, try to do some utilization of carbon capture through the PTX or PTL route, e-fuels, and utilize those fuels in their own geography. So they will save a lot of logistics costs, a lot of import costs as well. Might look theoretical, but yes, if we want, things can work out well, and models can be seen across the world. Governments do take part, funding is there. So why not the governments become a part of such projects? Why are the governments shying away? And the moment the government comes in, funding becomes easy. Equity investors, strategic partners, they become easy to come, and the project can be mobilized in a very quick time as well.
Sure, sure. Thanks. And of course, the PPP has played a very important role in strategic storage also, given the geopolitical scenario. If we look at the India Strategic Petroleum Reserve Limited, they have ordered Padur on PPP basis, and they will be coming out with another one for Chandni coal as well. So as rightly mentioned, it is adequate sharing of risk which such models can address. So to my last questions to the panel members, I would pick, if you want to pick one key interventions which you want to suggest, so what will be that, sir? Over to you.
I think the penetration of EVs is the need of the hour, because as we rightly said in previous panelists, 90% or 80% of oil and gas we are importing from outside, and out of which 60% is just going to the transportation sector. I think that is the need of the hour. I think there must be a lot of push and a lot of issues in that sector, including the EV charging stations, uniformity, battery swapping, so many issues are there. So that must be addressed on priority.
Sure, thanks. Ravi, for your views.
Yeah, there cannot be any one. If I have to choose, apart from the expansion of grid infrastructure, I would bet on the best integration as much it can be pushed.
Sure, sure. Then.
I think limiting the response to one is a bit tricky question, but I feel talking about, I mean, I've spoken about some large projects, but I feel as a human being, as a citizen of the country, none of us is happy to see big heaps of MSW. You spoke about it. I think that should be the first thing that the government of the day should do. And I feel MSW project should be, one is that waste to energy, which is power generation, but it has its own issues. But let's continue that segment as well. One important segment is that the state governments, again, I come to that, or the municipalities can be a participant in the PPP model-based handling of MSW projects. You make pellets, you make biofuels, you can even make methanol, then you can go to DME. What happens is that, one is that we learn to handle MSW in a good way, and let us because MSW will be driven by the government, it has to be a government-owned project, some private party will come into that, but what can be done here is that a lot of people can get employment. Let that employment be a part of Manrega scheme. Now we have seen a name change of Manrega scheme. And let some private companies come and start doing some projects on MSW, whatever is possible. But all the municipalities, all the state governments should take it on their head that yes, every government has to mobilize the MSW projects, otherwise this is a big issue. Swachh Bharat, urban development, smart cities, these projects fit into all the initiatives. And these are the ones which we should have taken up by now, and they can mobilize the entire ecosystem as well. Employment, just one addition to it. And fuels is, you can take it as a bonus part of it. So we have seen one company doing CBG project, I think in Indore. It's based on MSW. A lot of tenders have also come. I think Ahmedabad, I think Rajkot or Surat also. So these, let us eradicate MSW. Let's have a multi, stakeholder discussions how to eradicate MSW. That will be a very good site. Hosting Asian Games, Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games. Just imagine what flavor of the country we give to the foreigners and to ourselves and to the next generation as well. So I feel handling MSW should be a very top priority, budget should be rolled out, and multi-stakeholder discussion should be done to how to handle this best.
Thanks, and I completely agree that MSW, not only for CBG, but also for generating RDFs and then waste to energy is also becoming very important going forward. And to summarize this discussion, thanks for the insight around what are the challenges as nation we are facing and what are the key interventions. And I also believe that we need to address through all the angle, be it demand side, affordability, or the supply side mechanism, making the feedstock available to create our infrastructure, make it ready, as Tanuj highlighted, addressing some of the land issues, making the project more bankable, and all of these layered with the policy and regulatory enablers which will make it happen and make our country self-reliant. And Dr. Satish could not join today, but digital is one area we all as nation need to focus on and bring that innovation through digital lens. How we can move from legacy infrastructure to being more digitally ready is the need of the hour. With this, I would want to thank all the panel members for their useful insight, and thank you all. Thank you so much.